We're following major developments in the search for Kata Scott. Police in Philadelphia are searching an area in connection to the missing girl. The 23-year-old told her friends and family she was receiving harassing phone calls from someone she didn't know. Days later, she vanished and she has not been seen since.
No one has received a call from her. We know her phone is not in operation anymore. So a lot of what we're doing is following the evidence that we have, witnesses that gave us information. Some of that evidence has led us to this area.
That video per Fox 29 in Philadelphia as police close off an area of the city they say the evidence led them to. We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Well, it definitely grabs your attention when police in Philadelphia say this case has them more concerned than usual, that it could be more than just a missing persons case. There's a lot that we still don't know, but the search right now is for 23-year-old Kata Scott. Again, she's from Philadelphia, and she disappeared after saying that there were some suspicious and harassing phone calls that she was receiving from either a man or a group of people. Friday morning, police in Philadelphia blocked off an arboretum. You can see on this map, it is a vast green space in the city. This is about an hour walk or a 10-minute drive from where Kata Scott was last seen, a nursing home where she was set to work an overnight shift. Here's more of what police had to say this morning per Fox 29 in Philly.
To this point, nothing has been found that's related to the investigation. We found some clothing items, which we have no idea if they're related to this or not, but they were taken just to look into. But at this point, we're just doing everything we can. We try to do that on missing person investigations. We do everything we can to make sure we run down every lead.
Again, Kata Scott told her family and her friends that she was receiving harassing phone calls in the days leading up to her disappearance. They were from a man or a group of people who she didn't know. Police have said that detail has them concerned. Here's a missing persons flyer with Kata's picture. She is 5'6" and she weighs about 120 pounds. She was last seen on October 5th, almost a week ago.
Hi everybody, my name is Kata.
This is a vlog that Kata Scott has on her YouTube channel. The 23-year-old, she's a recent Penn State graduate. She's very active on social media across several platforms. She's a budding entrepreneur. She's a content creator. And she also reportedly competed in the Miss Pennsylvania USA pageant over the summer. A social person, close with her family, hardworking. So it really just does not make any sense as to why she would vanish, especially when she doesn't have a history of doing things like this, according to her family. But Philadelphia police say she vanished the evening of October 5th. Kata worked at this assisted living facility in Northwest Philadelphia. It's a couple miles from her house. She worked the overnight shift there. Her mom was the last person to see her. It was around 9:50 at night before she went in for her shift at 10 p.m. Now, from what we've been told, there's nothing that was off or suspicious about Kata before she left for work. But police say she didn't finish her shift that was supposed to go from 10 p.m. to 6 o'clock in the morning. Here's what police say happened per Fox 29 in Philly.
We do know she did arrive at work. She works at a nearby nursing home. However, we know that she left prior to her shift's completion. Detectives are currently canvassing the neighborhood for video. We're interviewing friends and family, and we're analyzing cell phone data.
Now, police say that Kata's cell phone appears to be off. Also, that's very odd when you think of how social she is and active she is on platforms online. Police are saying that they are analyzing her social media accounts, looking into what kind of conversations she might have been having at the time that she disappeared. Now, you might hear that her leaving for her shift, that it could sound like this was some sort of voluntary disappearance, but police say they are concerned that this is more than that.
In the days prior to her disappearance, Ms. Scott related to family and friends that unknown individuals or person had been harassing her via phone. We're investigating that. We're trying to learn more. That being said, we want the public to take a really good look at Ms. Scott's photo.
Now here is that picture that police were talking about, the one that they've put out to the public. We don't know the specifics as far as what was said on these harassing phone calls, what made these phone calls harassing in nature. But we do know she talked about it days before she disappeared, and she did not know who the person was on the other end of the line. Doesn't know if it was just one individual or multiple individuals. Police say they're trying to figure that out right now. Hey, before I get back to this episode of On the Case, I need to take a quick break so I can tell you about today's sponsor, Scatter Slots. Now, with all the hard-hitting true crime content that we cover on this show, there are some days that I need to unwind with something that is fictional. Maybe it's a good book, or it's a new app game. So I downloaded this game, Scatter Slots, recently, and it really surprised me because I'm not a huge game person, but it's not your typical slot game. It has this great fantasy vibe to it. It's mixed with immersive character narratives and a full adventure map. So instead of just spinning, it feels like you're actually progressing through different worlds, unlocking new levels as you go, like a real quest. The visuals are very pretty. It's super detailed with unique storylines tied into each slot machine. Scatter Slots keeps things surprising with tournaments, daily gifts, and over 300 different theme machines to discover. Plus, it's pretty social. You can chat with other gamers, team up, and grab extra rewards together. Better yet, it is free on iOS and Android, and each session feels quick and rewarding. So it is easy to unwind if you only have 5 minutes. Whether you're in it for the fun, the wins, or the fantasy, Scatter Slots delivers it all. So, what are you waiting for? Download it today and claim 12 million coins to jumpstart your adventure. Police also say it was soon after she started her shift that she left that assisted living facility. So she gets into work at 10 p.m. and then sometime shortly after that, she leaves, and that's when she vanished. Now, here's what police said when they were asked whether they think that Kata Scott's in danger.
At this time, all I can say right now is that a 23-year-old girl hasn't been seen in 4 days. There is that, her explaining to family that she had been harassed by an individual or individuals via phone. So we do have some concern, more so than usual. So again, we're just, pleading for the public to take a really good look at Miss Scott's photo and let us know if you've seen her.
So if you or anyone has information on where 23-year-old Kata Scott is located, you can contact Philadelphia Police at 215-686-TIPS. Joining us now to talk more about this is missing persons private investigator Steve Fisher. Always great to have you on Law&Crime. So as we're recording this right now, we know that Philadelphia police are outside of this arboretum. It's about an hour's walk from where Kata Scott worked at this nursing home. We don't know why at the time we're recording this, why Philadelphia police are here, but they've said it is relation to the search for her. What is going through your mind right now as we're trying to figure out what happened?
Well, it's certainly not a natural progression from the search they had. So something brought them there for sure. Whether it was she picked up on surveillance or a solid enough, that what they felt was a solid enough lead, something brought them there. And listen, it's a large presence. They've got a lot of people on the ground. They've got canines there. They've got the FBI there apparently. Now they haven't found anything as of now, but something in particular brought them there because this was not a planned progression of the search, I don't believe.
Well, and so she's in Northwest Philadelphia, and this is an urban area. I imagine that there's cameras that, compared to, I know some of the searches we've talked about in rural spots where you just don't know where someone went. It seems like in Philly, it'd be a city where you would be able to kind of track where she was going when she left this nursing home.
Well, as we've heard, there's no cameras apparently at the senior care facility, which is just shocking to me. This is a senior care facility with people with memory problems and whatnot. You would think if there'd be cameras anywhere, this would be it. But apparently there's no cameras. And in that, I know police have kind of expressed some frustration that they haven't been able to pick her up. And then keep in mind, this happened, late at night. So you're then dealing with infrared cameras. So you're not getting imagery like you would get during the day. But something had to have triggered around that arboretum area where the search is going on now to bring this type of presence, because they put the search together, quickly. So she may have been picked up. It could have been by, a traffic, cam, a public safety type camera, or something at the arboretum, or could just been a lead that was called in that they feel, or somebody they've interviewed.
Because I think of these harassing phone calls that Kata Scott apparently said that she was getting a couple days before. She spoke to family and friends about it. And it was to the point where I think it was definitely raised a few eyebrows when Philadelphia police said that there's more concern than usual, is like the exact words that they used.
Yeah.
What is the process of figuring out, even if her phone has been off, how can you figure out who might have been giving her these calls?
So every one of the phone carriers has a exigent law enforcement department 24/7. So on an exigent basis, meaning an emergency basis, they can get information without a warrant. They just got to promise to deliver a warrant within 72 hours. So as far as, even if it's a blocked number coming in, at the switch, the carrier can tell, a lot of things, including, they can unmask those numbers. And so I think within, hours, they should have had that data of, was she really getting, phone calls? It is, listen, the police chief that gave the press interview did generally seem concerned. I do wonder if she's getting harassing phone calls, why would she exit that facility? Like, let's say somebody was harassing her, say, come outside, or not even harass her, but just, she didn't know who they were and they were trying to come outside. Why do you go outside from that facility you're working at? And also, why do you bring your electronics with you? So, I think it definitely is being explored. It needs to be explored. The FBI is involved now. And they have the best teams there are at analyzing that type of thing. But I think they can't lose the focus of, because something else had been going on in her life, that maybe she just wanted to step away, and now has this spun into such a big deal that she feels like, what do I do now? How do I reappear without this being an abduction or something? Because, listen, she's young and just out of college, and who knows, people sometimes, just want to get out for a little bit, and then these things happen. We saw the same thing with Hannah Kobayashi,
I think of this family, and you look at, first off, Kata Scott. I mean, she seems like this budding entrepreneur. Like, she has, very active on social media in terms of like building a brand. Very smart person, Penn State graduate. She's working overnights at a nursing home to help pay for school, her family said.
Yeah.
I mean, that, says a lot about someone's drive. How often in cases when you are looking for someone who's missing that they have never done something like this before? Because there are some of these missing persons cases where there is this pattern of someone who has run away in the past. I mean, how often is like a kind of this voluntary running away to get away from someone who her mom sees her before she goes to work and everything's fine, she says, and then suddenly she's gone?
Yeah. So if it's a great departure from their normal habits, then it's concerning. Like you said, there's people that have these habits of doing it, and sometimes it's it's usually with younger people, but sometimes it's because something's going on at home, or sometimes it's attention seeking, whatever it may be. But here we have, I think, 23-year-old, and if this has not been a habit, which from everything I've read, and I'm not working the case, but everything I've read, it is not part of her past, then it's definitely concerning. But if I was involved as an investigator, I'd really be talking with the parents, making sure there wasn't some subtle clues there that maybe she was under more pressure. Maybe now that school's over, she's graduated, and she feels kind of that weight of the world to get out there and start her life. Maybe she was under more pressure than they're really considering. And listen, people handle that differently. And also, listen, it's something that's got to, because everything's got to be considered. That age, for females, is the age of onset of certain, mental health, things like bipolar and schizophrenia, where paranoia starts to creep in, and maybe, so that's got to be explored if those phone calls were real or not. With men, it's usually 26, 27, but females, it's 22, 23, 24, where that sets in. So I'd be exploring everything, just to make sure they don't get too tunnel focused on if this was somebody harassing her that snatched her, because maybe it's something simpler, and maybe there needs to be some call outs to her through the media, like, hey, you're not in trouble. If you just need to get away, you have a safe environment to come back to, and you're not gonna be in trouble, type of thing.
If the FBI or Philadelphia police, who also they have a ton of resources as well, when you get someone's social media profile, are you able to see who they're DMing? Like, if there was someone in her DMs that she was communicating with, is that also what comes with the information they get?
Yeah. So again, when you get that info from the exigent department, the law enforcement department, it actually comes in a database format, and it'll show every message, and under it, it'll show deleted, yes or no. So you even see the deleted messages. So if you're messaging somebody and you delete a photo or a text, you think it's gone, it's not. Now, if it's an encrypted app, that's a different story, because they, if you're talking on Telegram or something like that, then it can be very different, unless they're able to figure out what her passwords are, and then they can, from another device, get in. But that's a matter of if anybody has it, and the chances are probably nobody knows her passwords. Otherwise, they would have been in already, I would imagine. But they can definitely get regular DMs and deleted messages and whatnot. And the phone carriers, they can actually see the text messages also for 90 days. So we're within that window where they'll actually not just see that there was a text back and forth, but they'll be able to see the contents of it as well.
Just looking at the map here, just between the nursing home in Northwest Philly and then the Arboretum that police are searching right now as we're recording this in the Germantown section of Philadelphia, it's like an hour walk, almost headed towards like Center City, if people know, like headed in that direction, more into like the heart of Philadelphia is the direction she's going, so that'd be probably east. What just stands out to you about, like, it would be an hour walk, about a 10-minute drive in the middle of the night of, however, if this is something where they were able to trace her to this area, what stands out to you about that?
I don't know. That's a tough one. Again, I'd be asking the family, is there anything symbolic there to her? Is it someplace that she's familiar with? I don't know if she has any spiritual beliefs or anything like that. But it is concerning, that late at night. Listen, just that 1 hour walk, even if somebody didn't lure her out, this harassing person, whatever, she could still encounter a bad actor on that walk. It's an hour away, and also just, why are you going there? And something has cued them in to think that she was around that area. Now, again, you're dealing at night with surveillance cameras, so you're going to be getting infrared stuff. So it is also easy to misidentify somebody. There could have been somebody else that was walking in that area, and they don't know for certain, but they're just going to throw all the resources at it in case it was.
And then, in a lot of these cases too, is we're trying to figure out what happened. And in any missing persons case, it's important that this person is found, that they're safely brought back home to their loved ones and their family. But then when you think of the harassing phone calls, but then it's just bizarre activity, it appears that she would show up for work and everything's normal at 10 o'clock. And I guess she left closer to the beginning of her shift than when it was supposed to end at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, in those types of cases, if you were one of the investigators on this, I guess, what are the questions that you would have as you try to piece together that sort of behavior to voluntarily leave in the middle of the night from the place that you're supposed to work this overnight shift, right after seeing your mom, and she leaves at like 9:50 from her house. Hey, I'm headed to work. She gets to work, and then she walks off.
Yeah, so I would definitely, being that she's a recent graduate as an investigator, I'd be wanting to talk to like roommates from college, stuff like that, and see how she reacted to high pressure situations, around finals or something like that. Would she get to points where it would be too much and kind of just have to walk away, not necessarily leave like she does this time, but how would she deal with high stress like that? Listen, I don't think it's easy working at a senior care facility. I think that's a lot of pressure in itself, a lot of demands, and I don't know if that was her career choice either. I know she just recently graduated, and working overnight's probably a difficult thing. So I'd be seeing how she reacts to high stress situations, and if she sometimes just needs to get away and just makes decisions. Because she did leave the car, and but took the devices, so that's bizarre, right? But again,
And turn the devices off. Yeah,
well,
turn the devices off.
and
Yeah.
now that's very typical. Like whenever we do have cases of people that just they want to get away, the devices always go off, and also in mental health cases they always do, because listen, people know they can be tracked. So it's the first thing that happens is the devices go off. So that part doesn't surprise me. Whether it's a voluntary walk away or if somebody took her, the first thing they're going to do is turn the devices off. So that part doesn't surprise me.
It's been 5-6 days, so it would have been the 5th. October 5th was the last time she was seen. So it was either the 4th or the 5th in the middle of the night. But we're talking almost a week that she hasn't been seen. How does a search, because I know that there's a lot of members of the community that are putting her picture everywhere. Her picture's now all over the local media in Philadelphia, certainly here online. How does the strategy of a search change as you get closer to 1 week compared to the beginning hours of a search 4 or 5 days ago?
Yeah, I think the next 48 hours, you're going to see a lot of resources thrown at it. And now, at least according to reports, the FBI is involved. And because, we're in a really critical window right here. And hopefully what it is, maybe there's somebody in her life that her parents didn't necessarily agree with. And maybe she's with them and they're just trying to figure out, how do we get out of this now? And listen, these things do happen. There's been cases that I've been on your show about where there were, these things happened. Lisa Petrov and others. So there is still hope here. I mean, listen, but it's concerning when you get to this many days, because it's not like she took, a bag of. It's not like she looked like she was getting away, so it's very concerning, and I think you're going to see a lot of resources thrown at it here over the week, today, tomorrow and Sunday, because they know that this is like the really super critical time, and it looks like they've, I've seen some images. They have a lot of people out there. They have canines. So I think we'll have some sort of resolution this weekend, or today, or this weekend. Hopefully, I hope she's just hiding out somewhere,
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's scary situation, just to see the concern in the police just really.
Genuinely, there was genuine concern on that police chief's face. So, and listen, he knows more than any of us, right? Yeah. So that's something to take into account too, that there's things that they're holding back, and he genuinely looked concerned, and so that is worrying.
Yeah, well, we'll continue to keep an eye on this case. Steve Fisher, missing persons private investigator. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. We'll see how the story pans out, hopefully for the better, and Kata Scott can come home.
Yeah, thank you.
Once again, Kata Scott, she stands about 5'6". If you have information on where she is located, police say there is no tip that is too small to be reported. You can contact Philadelphia Police, 215-686-TIPS. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.